I hope that we are now live. I did say yesterday when I came on that I would be doing another live poetry reading session this evening, and here I am, almost 6 o'clock my time, well, just gone 6 o'clock my time, which I think is pretty good going, really, considering it's been a crazy busy day for me. And here I am. So I just thought I would say hi to everybody. Hello, lovely to see you. I hope that you're having a fabulous day and that you've enjoyed your time. So I am going to read from a book, which is actually another poetry book. It's printed by my publisher Batsford, and it's one of those poetry books that you can read aloud every day, or you can choose a poem for each day of the year, which I think is really lovely. And I just went out into the garden and I got this rose, which is one of the roses I planted for my mum. So I am going to dedicate these poems to my mother today, just because. And it smells so good as well. So there we go. That's what I'm going to do. And I've sort of earmarked, really weirdly, I've earmarked the book with things like packets of seeds and things. Anything I could grab my hands on when I was reading through it just now, so that I could quickly go to some of the poems that I'd really like to read. So I'm going to start. I'm just going to move my laptop back a bit because I don't want to knock it over with my book. I've actually bought one of those book things that you can put books on, so I can read it without looking down the whole time, which I think is kind of a bit, I don't know, it's a little, not rude, but it's just not really, I'd rather look sort of towards the camera really and look towards you, which would be the best thing to do. So I am going to start with a poem called Roses, and these were given to me by the funeral directors called Poppies, who are amazing actually. And they sent me these wild flowers, and I must plant them for next year. I'll plant them in the spring for next year because that's what I'm going to do. And I decided that that was the bookmarker for my mother's poem, which is one I'm going to dedicate to her. And it's called Roses, and it's by George Eliot. It's from The Spanish Gypsy. You love the roses, so do I. I wish the sky would rain down roses as they rain from off the shaken bush. Why will it not? Then all the valley would be pink and white and soft to tread on. They would fall as light as feathers, smelling sweet, and it would be like sleeping and like waking all at once. That's for my mum, that's George Eliot. And actually, on the opposite page is one of my favourite little excerpts from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. It's called On Marriage, and I always think this is a really lovely one. I mean, lots of my friends read this out at their weddings and things, and actually I still don't tire of it. I still think it's absolutely gorgeous and very appropriate. It sort of reminds me of, you know, two trees sort of growing side by side, both the same tree, so both an ash tree or an oak tree, but both with the space in between them to grow and grow, and for their branches to grow and for their leaves to grow. And, you know, if it's an ash, for the berries to come and the birds to come, and for them to have their individuality, but at the same time have this commonality between them. And I think that's what's really wonderful about a really successful relationship, whether it's a marriage or just a partnership. I don't mean just a partnership, because every relationship is, you have to work at it to make it truly magnificent and long lasting. So this is a lovely one from Khalil Gibran. It's called On Marriage, and it's from The Prophet. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh, sorry about that. Must have been outside. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I've been outside picking hydrangeas and things, and they're over there. Actually, you can see them just there in the corner of my bookcase. And they must have, I don't know, the end of the summer pollen on them. They're all fading now, and I think they're really quite beautiful. I'm going to start that again. I'm so sorry. On Marriage from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. 1923, I think that he wrote this. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together, and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone. Even as the strings of a lute are alone even though the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. It's so lovely, isn't it? Considering I really messed that up with a couple of sneezes and messing up a couple of lines, I'm going to go back and try that one again. Take 2. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. I love that. It's just beautiful, the trees. But they don't cast shadow on each other. They live apart, but they grow somehow together. Okay, what have we got here? I put the seed packet, another seed packet, into there. Gypsophilia, actually. I was going to scatter it all over my garden this year, but I didn't get around to it. So I am going to read a poem by Catherine Mansfield. Voices of the Air. But then there comes that moment rare, when for no cause that I can find, the little voices of the air sound above all the sea and wind. The sea and wind do then obey, and sighing double notes of double basses, content to play a droning chord for the little throats. The little throats that sing and rise up into the light with lovely ease, and a kind of magical sweet surprise, to hear and know themselves for these. For these little voices, the bee, the fly, the leaf that taps, the pod that breaks, the breeze on the grass tops bending by, the shrill quick sound that the insect makes. Isn't that so sweet? For these little voices, the bee, the fly, the leaf that taps, that pod that breaks, the breeze on the grass tops bending by, the shrill quick sound that the insect makes. I think that's lovely. Really love that. It's a kind of little bit of romance on a late summer's day. And talking of romance and summer, and I'm going to have a little sip of water, I'm going to do one of the classics. Considering that I'm here in the UK, I am going to read a classic William Shakespeare sonnet number 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in the eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. That's a bit of a corker, isn't it? So good. When you think about it, Shakespeare, 1564 to 1616. I mean, he was so ahead of his time. Or maybe he was completely in his time, of his time, but so succinct even now today in the 21st century. I don't think we can really do any, I don't think we can do any better than that. I'm going to read it again because I'm a bit of a Shakespeare fan. I don't know if I do it justice, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to do it again. Sonnet number 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Well, I'd give that 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm not sure that we could actually improve on that. I think that's why poetry and literature and art in general has to be looked upon individually. Individual items, individual pieces, individual pieces of work. Because how can you compare them? It's very, very difficult. That's why when I was teaching art when I was younger, I was teaching 16 to sort of 20-year-olds, people who were going to go on to art college probably and things like that. That's what they were sort of set to do. And I found it always very, very difficult to judge the work, because some of the work was exceptional. Okay, you can say that is a really high standard. Some of the work was not of such a high standard. But when you look at the art world today, who's to say what's good and what's not? It's kind of what's popular, isn't it? It's what captures the imagination. It could be a pile of bricks in the middle of the gallery. That captures the imagination of the time. It could be, these Rothko's just big black canvases, but that captures the imagination of the time, and it has kept the imagination of the people since they were made, or certainly in the later few decades. Anyway, the same I think is with poetry and with literature. If a piece of work captures the sort of zeitgeist of the time, if it captures the absolute essence of what's happening, or it captures the imagination of the people of that time, of that period, and it just happens to come out and be published, just, like always I talk about these sliding doors, and I think that's exactly what it is. But Shakespeare is exceptional, and so's Mr. Wendell Berry, who's in his 90s, still alive, born 1934. He's 90. This is one of my absolute all-time favourites. I absolutely love it. It's the piece of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Absolutely beautiful. And the world is in despair, isn't it, at the moment? Something major needs to happen in a good way to get things in some kind of logical, sensible order. But we're not going to go into politics while we're here, or into world events. I shall reread that and think about where you would go and what you would do if you need some solace, some space from what's happening around you. I certainly go down to the river, or I go into the woods, and I might sit by a lake or a pond. I do find that water is a huge recoverer, if that's a word. It's a huge sort of medicine that gets me kind of clear in my head, and it kind of cleanses me, not even being immersed in it, but just being part of it, just looking at it, just watching it flow, listening to the sound. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Superb. Just superb. Let's read this one. William Morris, he was 1834, so 100 years before Wendell Berry, and died 1896. And William Morris was one of the great arts and crafts sort of pioneers and fantastic designer, and really influential to Pre-Raphaelites and Art Nouveau and everything really that came after that. This is called Dawn Talks Today, and it's from Song 7. Dawn talks today over dew gleaming flowers. Night flies away till the resting of hours. Fresh are thy feet, and with dreams thine eyes glistening. Thy still lips are sweet, though the world is a-listening. O love, set a word in my mouth for our meeting. Cast thine arms about me, to stay my heart's beating. O fresh day, O fair day, O long day, made ours. Isn't that lovely? Dawn talks today over dew gleaming flowers. Night flies away till the resting of hours. Fresh are thy feet, and with dreams thine eyes glistening. Thy still lips are sweet, though the world is a-listening. O love, set a word in my mouth for our meeting. Cast thine arms round about me to stay my heart's beating. O fresh day, O fair day, O long day made ours. Oh, that's so gorgeous. Very nice. Okay. Has everybody got decent, are you getting me okay with Wi-Fi? A couple of people have said that they don't have great connection. I'm just going to check the live feed to see if it's okay. It should be okay because my Wi-Fi is really good at the moment. But maybe it's to do with if it's okay. It should be okay because my Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, hopefully it's okay. Good. Maybe it's to do with I'm going to turn my phone down because I have to look at my phone because I can't do two things at once. Even though I'm a woman, I find sometimes tech stuff can be a bit baffling and overwhelming. I think my Wi-Fi is okay. Please, I hope it is because I want to carry on and I'm going to. So nothing is going to stop me. This is what I wanted to read. It's from the Water Babies. Do you remember the Water Babies from when you were young? Oh, I love that. Charles Kingsley, and I loved the illustrations. They were so beautiful. They really captured my imagination. And I think something to revisit and read. I never read it to my children, actually. I don't know why, because I really found it quite magical when I was growing up. So here we go. This is Song of the River. Just talking about water just now. So yes, another in the theme of water. Song of the River from the Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. Clear and cool, by laughing shallow and dreaming pool. Cool and clear, by shining shingle and foaming weir. Under the crag where the ouzel sings, and the ivied wall where the church bell rings. Undefiled for the undefiled. Pray by me, bathe in me, mother and child. Dank and foul, by the smoky town in its murky cowl. Foul and dank, by wharf and sewer and slimy bank. Darker and darker the further I go, baser and baser the richer I grow. Who dare sport with a sin defiled? Shrink from me, turn from me, mother and child. Strong and free, the floodgates are open away to the sea. Free and strong, cleansing my streams as I hurry along. To the golden sands and the leaping bar and this taintless tide that awaits me far. As I lose myself in the infinite main, like a soul that has sinned and is pardoned again, undefiled and for the undefiled, play by me, bathe in me, mother and child. Wonder what that means. That's the kind of poem that I would have been very pleased to have written when I was at school, with those kind of interesting patterns in the verses and the rhyming and the use of words and the use of alliteration and all sorts of things like that. All those English terms. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a sort of sing-songy. Well, it is. It's Song of the River. It's quite a sing-songy one, isn't it? Let's have a look. Now, I had some other... oh yes, I was going to read this. This is a lovely poem which is by Louisa May Alcott, who wrote Little Women, and it's called Fairy Song, and I think it's very sweet, and it is an extract from Fairy Song. The moonlight fades from flower and tree, and the stars dim one by one. The tale is told, the song is sung, and the fairy feast is done. The night wind rocks the sleeping flowers and sings to them soft and low. The early birds ere long will wake, 'tis time for the elves to go. From bird and blossom and bee we learn the lessons they teach, and seek by kindly deeds to win a loving friend in each. And though unseen on earth we dwell, sweet voices whisper low, the gentle hearts most joyously greet the elves where'er they go. When next we meet in the fairy dell, may the silver moon's soft light shine then on faces gay as now, and elfin hearts as light. Now spread each wing for the eastern sky, with sunlight soon will glow. The morning star shall light us home, farewell, for the elves must go. My children used to love these sorts of things when they were younger. I used to love them too, and I still do. I think they're just really magical, and they just sort of take you away from all the nonsense going on outside, don't they? I mean, they really do. Right, let's have a look. What else have we got here? Something exciting. Oh yes, I do like this. This is by Rupert Brooke. These I have loved, from The Great Lover by Rupert Brooke. These I have loved, white plates and cups, clean gleaming, ringed with blue lines and feathery fairy dust, wet roofs beneath the lamplight, the strong crust of friendly bread, and many tasting food, rainbows and the blue bitter smoke of wood, and radiant raindrops couching in cool flowers, and flowers themselves that sway through sunny hours, dreaming of moths that drink them under the moon. Then the cool kindliness of sheets that soon smooth away trouble, and the rough male kiss of blankets, grainy wood, live hair that is shining and free, blue massing clouds, the keen unimpassioned beauty of a great machine, the benison of hot water, furs to touch, the good smell of old clothes and others such, the comfortable smell of friendly fingers, hair's fragrance, and the musty reek that lingers about dead leaves and last year's ferns. I love that. When you reminisce about, I don't know, girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives, lovers, people that you've had relationships with, I always think about things like that. I always think about those moments where those kinds of memories are so clearly etched in my memory, in my mind. And those are the things to focus on, not the other things that, not the reasons why you broke up or whatever it was, but the lovely moments like that, those little crystal clear little things that you can kind of catch almost with a butterfly net and put into a little jar of memory and just unscrew the cap and take it out. I think that's a really lovely thing to do, to focus on the good things when you've had a relationship that hasn't worked out, because there was a reason why you started seeing that person in the first place after all. And maybe it was that walk in that lovely, the hair's fragrance, the musty reek that lingers about dead leaves and last year's ferns. Maybe it was that lovely autumn walk in the woods or something that made you realise that was the person that you wanted, and then perhaps it all went to pot after that. Okay, let's have a look and see if there's anything else here to read. There's plenty of lovely things in this book. Walt Whitman, let's do that. One of my favourites. I love a bit of Walt Whitman. This is The Smoke of My Own Breath, from Song of Myself, 1892. Oh, Leaves of Grass, Song of Myself. Oh, I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. I love Walt Whitman. Just fantastic. He's like a poetic philosopher. The smoke of my own breath echoes, ripples, buzzed whispers, love root, silk thread, crutch and vine. My respiration and inspiration, the beating of my heart, the passing of blood and air through my lungs, the sniff of green leaves and dry leaves, and of the shore and dark-coloured sea rocks, and of hay in the barn. Stop this day and night with me, and you shall possess the origin of all poems. You shall possess the good of the earth and sun. There are millions of suns left. You shall possess... Oh, I've just read that bit. You shall no longer take things at second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the spectres in books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. You shall listen to all sides and filter them from yourself. Absolutely splendid. I'm going to read that again. There's something just magnificent about Mr. Walt Whitman. Absolutely magnificent. The smoke of my own breath, echoes, ripples, buzzed whispers, love root, silk thread, crutch and vine. My respiration and inspiration, the beating of my heart, the passing of blood and air through my lungs, the sniff of green leaves and dry leaves, and of the shore and dark-coloured sea rocks, and of hay in the barn. Stop this day and night with me, and you shall possess the origin of all poems. You shall possess the good of the earth and the sun. There are millions of suns left. You shall no longer take things at second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the spectres in books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. You shall listen to all sides and filter them from yourself. Just brilliant. Just so wise and so brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I've got some of his books up there on my shelves, and one day I'm just going to do a whole hour of Walt Whitman because I think he is just spectacular. And we never learnt about him at school or at university or college or anything. So for me, coming to Walt Whitman probably when I was about, Dead Poets Society and things like that, I just think he's just spectacularly brilliant. Love him. Absolutely love him. He's just so... I'd love to have met him. He's somebody I would like to have a dinner party, actually. Who would you like to have at your dinner party? If I could have a dinner party, he would be one of people that are dead. He would be one of my guests, for sure. Just fascinating chap. And he self-published Leaves of Grass because nobody wanted to publish it. There you go. There's hope for all of us yet. Let's see, what have we got? Oh, lovely Laurie Lee. I do love a little bit of Laurie Lee. Sided with Rosie and all of that. And when I walked out one summer's day when he goes off to Spain, and just love it. So this is by Laurie Lee, and it's called Apples. And it's the fourth of these poems are a poem for each day. See, a poem to read aloud. Where's my hand going? That way. A poem to read aloud every day. And this is the 4th of September. And I remember, I've probably said this before loads of times, the apples on the tree at my school when I used to go back to school, which was always around the 4th of September. And it was always the time that the apples were ripe and dropping off the tree, and that lovely sort of frost and dew and everything. So here we go. I'm going to read this. Apples by Laurie Lee. Behold the apples' rounded worlds, juice green of July rain, the black polestar of flowers, the rind mapped with its crimson stain. The russet crab and cottage red burn to the sun's hot brass, then drop like sweat from every branch and bubble in the grass. They lie as wanton as they fall, and where they fall and break, the stallion clamps his crunching jaws, the starling stabs his beak. In each plump gourd the cidery bite of boy's teeth tears the skin. The waltzing wasp consumes his share, the bent worm enters in. I, with as easy hunger take entire my season's dole, welcome the ripe, the sweet, the sour, the hollow and the whole. Oh, I love it. He really captures everything just so beautifully. I'm going to read one more poem and then I'm going to have a look at comments and see what you guys are up to and what you have to say. This is, well, I might read a couple actually because I'm quite enjoying this, because as we go further on I'm reminding myself that autumn is just around the corner here in the US. So there we go. To Autumn. This is an extract from To Autumn by John Keats. Fabulous John Keats, who died when he was like 25 or something. I think did he have consumption? TB. I think that he had something like that. And yeah, his love letters to Fanny Brown were just so sad. Anyway, here we go. To Autumn from by John Keats. Where are the songs of spring? Ay, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river sallows, borne aloft or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne, hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red beast whistles from a garden croft. The red breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Where are the songs of spring? Ay, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river sallows, borne aloft or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne, hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Isn't that great? I love that. Right, I'm going to read one more. Several of you wanted a bit of Mary Oliver yesterday, so I've just happened upon Mary Oliver here. I've lent my Mary Oliver books actually to my daughter, and I will be getting them back, hopefully, well, certainly by the weekend, if not before. If I see her before that. So I will do a whole Mary Oliver reading, which is what a lot of you really requested her yesterday. So I will do that for you in the next few days when I get my books back. This is The Swan by Mary Oliver. Did you too see it drifting all night on the Black River? Did you see it in the morning rising into the silvery air, an armful of white blossoms, a perfect commotion of silk and linen as it leaned into the bondage of its wings? A snowbank, a bank of lilies biting the air with its black beak. Did you hear it fluting and whistling, a shrill dark music like the rain pelting the trees, like a waterfall knifing down the black ledges? And did you see it, finally just under the clouds, a white cross streaming across the sky, its feet like black leaves, its wings like the stretching light of the river? And did you feel it in your heart? It pertained to everything. And have you too finally figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? I'll read that one more time because it's quite poignant, I think. Did you too see it drifting all night on the Black River? Did you see it in the morning rising into the silvery air, an armful of white blossoms, a perfect commotion of silk and linen as it leaned into the bondage of its wings, a snowbank, a bank of lilies, biting the air with its black beak? Did you hear it fluting and whistling, a shrill dark music like the rain pelting the trees, like a waterfall knifing down with black edges, knifing down the black ledges? And did you see it finally just under the clouds, a white cross streaming across the sky, its feet like black leaves, its wings like the stretching light of the river? And did you feel it in your heart, how it pertained to everything? And have you too finally figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? That's quite a big question, isn't it? Have you figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? Have you changed your life? Do you think you have? Well, I've certainly changed mine. I've changed my life 360 degrees, 360 degrees, and 360 degrees. And I hope that doesn't cancel each other out. I think just I've changed it so much for the better. And believe me, if I can do it, if I can change my life from where I was, then anyone can do it. It takes gumption, a huge amount of courage and strength, well, this is what it means. This is my take on it. Gumption, courage, strength, fearlessness, conviction, authenticity, truth, and motivation, drive, and yeah, just it really takes a lot. And that definitely resonates with me, that poem by Mary Oliver. Yes, I do know what beauty is, and yes, I do know why I'm here, basically. And I'm on a bit of a mission now, so I'm getting into my, I'll be 60 next year or so, and time is running out, so it's time to make sure that I get everything I need to do done before it's too late. Plenty of time left, but time to get it done. We only have one chance at this, only one shot at this, so make it the best. Right, let's have a look and see what people are saying on the feed. So, I don't know. Let's have a look. It says, Catherine, Mahon, Kirsty's watching. Blair says she loved the water babies. I know, isn't it sweet, Claire? Meave says, how's Clementine? Well, Clementine's coming along. When I get some more photographs, I will let you know. Unfortunately, Clementine number 1 didn't work out because I'm not going to go into it, but there was a problem with her, which is really, really sad, and I couldn't, really broke my heart, actually, and I can't, I don't really want to talk about it, but we are getting another puppy, and he is going to be a he, and he will be with us in mid-September, and he's going to be called Clemmy, and he's going to be a beauty, and we're going to love him to bits, so I'm really looking forward to it, and you will absolutely, believe me, you guys will be the first to see our new edition. Blair says beautiful. Katie says heartfelt. American treasure. I presume you're referring to Walt Whitman. He truly is. Melissa says wonderful. Oh yes, me. I'll do Pablo Neruda. I love him. I've got lots of his books up there. Love sonnets and things. And I will do a whole session of Pablo, because he's just one of the best. He's one of my absolute favourites. Just so romantic and so beautiful. And yes, lovely. Kit says love listening to me. Thank you very much, Kit. That's really sweet. And yeah, I really enjoy reading it out. I really enjoy reading, actually. I never really did sort of much acting and things at school. I think I was the cook in Alice in Wonderland. Pepper sneezing all the time. And I was the frog in The Princess and the Frog. So that just about tells you what people thought about the way I looked. Frog and a big, podgy, sort of sweaty cook. So that was me. So yeah, no, I would have really enjoyed doing a bit of acting and things. I've sort of, yeah, I always find it quite hard to remember words, but I think you get training for that, so, and lots of practice. Anyway, I am going to love you and leave you now, because it's coming up to my time to have a bit of a break, and I've really, really enjoyed that. And this is such a great book. It's actually by Batswood, my publishers. They do a whole series of them. This is a poem to read aloud every day. And you can actually they make great gifts, and you can just open it to whatever day it is. And look, I've got one of my cards in there telling me to read this poem, which I have read, the Wendell Berry one. So lots and lots of love to you. That was for my mum. Look at that lovely rose we planted, and it smells absolutely divine as well. My mum was a real English rose, and this is so gorgeous. It goes with my lovely background, my rhubarb walls. Okay, lots and lots of love, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. I'll probably do another live feed tomorrow. If I get my books back, my Mary Oliver books back, I'll do those. If not, then I might do the Pablo Neruda, so watch this space. Anyway, please do put comments in the comments and let me know what you like, and let's keep this going, because I'm really enjoying it. I hope you are, and lots of love, and have the most fabulous evening. I'm going to relax now and catch up with a friend of mine who's just got a new car, so I want to find out all about it and find out if he's liking it. I think he is. And I will speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye bye. Have a fabulous evening. Take care. Bye bye.